Greetings, everyone. Ann Tazowski and I went to the award ceremony where I think it was called like senior spotlights, where at the high school where they gave every senior recipient their scholarships from the local community. And I was lucky enough to sit next to Christy, and she said, "Oh, we were chit-chatting beforehand." And she said, "I'm with Whitley's Wishes, and I would love to come speak to your club." And I'm like, "Well, didn't you sit next to the right person? I can make that happen." So after our rotation for the year was finished, I said, I want the first slot. So little brief introduction. Christy is a lifelong resident of Edwardsville, a mom of 4, including Whitley, and stepmom to 2. She is also president and founder of Whitley's Wishes, which is a nonprofit organization that provides funding for research for pediatric brain cancer, as well as many other local projects. So I'm excited to hear more about this great charity. Please welcome Christy.
Okay, I've been told I need to adjust the camera, and since I'm pretty short, it's going to have to come down quite a bit. So can everyone hear me okay? Yeah, okay. So thank you very much for having me today. Thank you, Gina, for the introduction. Like Gina said, my name is Christy Jennings, and today I'm here to tell you a little bit about my daughter Whitley and our organization, Whitley's Wishes. My daughter Whitley was a beautiful, perfectly healthy little girl. She was very active in dance and softball, and she played the piano beautifully. She also loved school and was an honor roll student at Lincoln Middle School when she became ill. At the start of her 6th grade year, we began noticing changes in Whitley that we really couldn't understand, since she always loved school. She was always eager to go. And she began having a lot of anxiety about going, and would many times cry and just basically beg me to stay home from school. And that was very unlike her. We kind of chalked it up to puberty and the change, from going from grade school to middle school. Maybe that was stressing her out a little bit. But by Christmas time, she also started to have some very strange physical symptoms as well. She told me one day that it was hard to swallow her food. And that's not something that you typically hear from your kids. So I thought that was kind of odd. I didn't really understand what that meant, hard to swallow your food. So I thought maybe she had a sore throat. She also complained about feeling dizzy, and said that sometimes she was afraid that she would fall down the stairs when, they have all the flights of stairs at Lincoln. She was worried about that. And then my husband one day picked her up from school, and she complained to him that she was seeing double when she looked at the chalkboard. So of course we were alarmed, and we took her to the doctor. The doctor diagnosed her with an inner ear infection and sent us home with some antibiotics. It wasn't, unfortunately, an inner ear infection. So it wasn't long before we were back to the doctor. And on January 29th of 2014, just 4 days before her 12th birthday, Whitley was diagnosed with DIPG, a terminal form of pediatric brain cancer. They told us that she had about 9 months to live, and that there was nothing that they could do. DIPG stands for Diffuse Intrinsic Pontine Glioma. It forms inside the brainstem, which is basically the center of life for us. It is the control center of all of our major bodily functions. This type of tumor is inoperable because it infiltrates all of the healthy tissues of the brainstem, and it's not like a solid tumor that has clear, well-defined margins and is easily removed. Treating the tumor is nearly impossible as well, because when you attack cancer cells, they get very angry and they become very inflamed, and any inflammation in this part of the brain can be deadly. At the very least, it will increase symptoms and cause, more dizziness, more difficulty swallowing, more problems with speech and eye control, things like that. Approximately 350 kids each year get that. in the United States. And less than 1% of these children will survive more than 5 years. Median survival post-diagnosis is just 9 months. A lot of people say, well, 350 kids, that's pretty rare, right? I think about it as that's 14 classrooms of children, full of children that are dying each year from this disease. That's 14 classrooms of children who will never reach their full potential. That's 14 classrooms of children whose parents and families have to face the unimaginable. Children affected by DIPG slowly lose all of their physical abilities. It typically begins with their sense of balance, so many are confined to a wheelchair early on. Eventually, the ability to chew and swallow food is also taken, so often it is necessary to place a feeding tube, so they're no longer able to eat the foods that they enjoy. This is a slow and torturous process, and all the while, the children are entirely aware of what's happening to them because, unfortunately, the tumor has no effect on their cognitive abilities, only their physical abilities. Treatment for DIPG has changed very little over time. In 1962, Neil Armstrong's daughter, Muffy, died from DIPG at just 2.5 years old, about 5 years before he went to the moon. The treatment that she received is still to this day the standard of care for children diagnosed with DIPG. It's the same treatment that my daughter had. How many other diseases can you all think of where the treatment hasn't changed in 61 years? It's kind of appalling, right? That there's been no advancements at all. Upon diagnosis, children endure 6 weeks of radiation to their brainstem 5 days a week. This involves a mask being custom made to fit exactly over their face and is bolted to a table in order to deliver the radiation precisely to the tumor. You have to be very still when you have radiation to your brain. Many children, especially the very little ones, must be sedated for this procedure because they can't hold still for that long. The radiation therapy typically reduces the size of the tumor and gives children and their families a so-called honeymoon period in which the doctors recommend that they enjoy the time they have left and make memories with their child. Physical abilities do typically return, and the child is usually able to go back to normal activities for a time. Whitley, for instance, returned to dance and softball and performed in her spring piano and dance recitals that year. She was also able to return to school and finish 6th grade with her friends. Symptoms usually return, however, within 3 to 6 months. Whitley finished radiation on the first day of spring, and by Halloween, she was confined to a wheelchair. No other treatment was available at that time that showed any kind of promise to prolong her life. So we chose not to do anything else. It would only decrease the quality of her life. Many of the chemos didn't work, and they just made the children more sick. So on March 30th, 2015, after a 14-month battle against this monster, we lost Whitley. She was a very, very compassionate, empathetic, loving, and generous child. And when I lost her, I just wanted to make sure that people didn't forget her. Basically, I wanted her memory to endure, and I wanted the spirit of her to go on. So I created Whitley's Wishes. We got to work immediately. And in October of 2015, we had our first event. We held a softball tournament at Badalabine Park where she played softball. There was a little playground there that someone had created, I think when I was a little girl. It had a big tractor tire and a metal balance beam and some monkey bars, and it had all fallen into disrepair. There were a lot of weeds growing up. There was a chain link fence that was rusty, and it was just it was in pretty bad shape. And Whitley would say all the time, "Mom, we really need to do something about that playground. The poor little kids, when they come to the games, don't have any place to play. They're going to get hurt on those things." So my goal that year was to raise money to replace that playground in her memory. And so that's what I did. We had the the softball tournament, and we were able to donate $10,000 to the city of Edwardsville that year. And they did replace that playground, and it's beautiful now. And they put a plaque out there in memory of Whitley as well. Since then, we have kind of expanded our horizons. We have donated $10,000 in scholarships to graduates of Edwardsville High School. We started in the year 2020 when Whitley would have graduated, and that year gave away 4 scholarships to her classmates. And we've continued to do $1,000 scholarship every year since then. We provide toys annually to Cardinal Glennon Children's Hospital. That's where she received treatment, and that was actually her idea. She started the toy drive before she died. Unfortunately, she became too ill for us to be able to finish it that year and deliver the toys. So I do it every year for her, and we deliver a lot of toys every year. We also have provided catching equipment and visors to the youth softball program here in Edwardsville. Whitley was very passionate about softball, and she would see LeClaire Ball Diamond and how great the boys field was. And she thought the girls deserve that too, you know, and she saw that the little league guys got pants and hats, and, you know, why don't the girls get hats? So we decided to provide the visors. And then the catching equipment, I mean, it was very, very old, and she had to wear a lot of that sweaty old catching equipment when she played. So we bought all new catching equipment for the girls. We also provide a little bit of support to the Metro East Humane Society. Whitley's cat, unfortunately, went missing when she was fighting this disease. And Jim with the the Public Works Department asked if he could get her a new cat and invited us to the Humane Society. She got to pick any kitty that she wanted. And we still have that cat. He was very loyal to her and stayed by her through her entire illness. And we were very grateful for that. So we do provide a little bit of support to the Humane Society each year as well. Let's see, we also do, we've provided over $5,000 in dance scholarships to the dance program where she went at Rena's here in town. Each year we donate $500 to a girl who's deserving and may have a little bit of financial need as well. We also support families during Christmas time and nursing home residents. Whitley was very passionate about that as well. So as you can see, it's called Whitley's Wishes because it's based on things that she, you know, was passionate about and that touched her heart. So we try to still support those things. Her biggest wish was that no one ever get cancer. We have donated over $100,000 to date to DIPG research, and we hope to just keep moving aggressively towards that goal every year. In 2018, we became members of a group called the DIPG Collaborative. It's filled with other groups like mine, grassroots organizations that started because they too experienced the loss of a child to this horrible disease. And so we all pool our money, and we have a medical advisory board that kind of goes through the grant applications and decides which ones are most promising. And then we're able to vote on where we want the money to go to. Through this collaborative, we have funded $15,626,509 in research. This means that where nothing was happening in 61 years, and as far as treatment, advancing treatments for these children, we're changing that now. And we're seeing kids that are living 3+ years instead of 9 months. And 3+ years or 3 years still it's not enough. Obviously, it doesn't seem like much, but compared to 9 months, these families are very grateful for that extra time. We really believe, our doctors on our medical advisory board believe that if we can find a cure for this disease, because it is so difficult to treat, that the cure for this will likely lead to a cure for all cancer. So we call it the home run cure for cancer. If not the cure for all, at least huge advancements in treatments for all cancer. the work that these people are doing, these researchers is just, it's phenomenal. They're doing a lot with immunotherapy, CAR T cells. I don't know how familiar you all are with that, but it's fascinating work that they're doing, and cutting edge for sure. We put together a symposium every other year where we bring in the brightest minds of doctors, researchers, families who have gone through this already, families who are in the fight right now, and then us collaborative members. We all come together in a conference for 4 days and brainstorm ideas, and the doctors get together and the researchers get together and say, well, what about this? Have you tried that? I mean, it's phenomenal to watch the way it works, the way it happens, and to provide support for those people, like I said, who are still going through it or have just recently lost a child. So it's an amazing symposium. It's an amazing group to be a part of. I'm really proud of it. So in closing, again, I just want to thank you all for giving me the time to come here. I know that it's not easy to listen to a lot of what I've just said. It's a devastating disease. It's hard to talk about, and I know it's hard to listen to. So I thank you for your time and your willingness to hear what I have to say. And we are always looking for help. If any of you are interested in volunteering, we're always looking for people to help us with our event steering committees to create events that people enjoy coming to. We're always looking for sponsors, and we're definitely always looking for an extra hand the day of our events for setup, tear down, take tickets, you know, lots of different things. So if you're interested in helping ever, please let me know. Thank you again so much. I'm sorry, I think I'm supposed to take some questions.
Okay, so you mentioned the one at the marina. What are some of your other events that we could get involved with or participate?
Okay, so we do an event in May for the Kentucky Derby. It's going through some changes. Traditionally, it's just been a pub crawl. It's been out in like Prairietown, Borden, Holiday Shores area. But that one, like I said, we're gonna, I think, maybe change that up and do a 5K with it, and maybe do it in town to get a little more activity with it. We dress up. It's tons of fun. Who doesn't love wearing a fascinator and a big pretty dress and bow ties for you gentlemen out there? We also do a toy drive and holiday fundraiser in November before the holidays really get started. We kind of kick off the holiday season. It's usually, I think this year it's November 13th. And it's at the Holiday Shores Marina. It's just 3 hours. It's from 3 to 6. It's $40. It includes all your drinks and food and entertainment. If you bring a toy, you get entered to win a great prize. We do trivia because we choose a theme from one of the holiday movies. Last year, it was the Griswold Family Christmas. This year, it'll probably be Elf. So we do trivia. It's a lot of fun. We give a lot of really good prizes and raffle off a couple of really great items. And then we do the Nutcracker Tea Party at the Whitley. This year it'll be December 3rd. This one is really geared more towards the little ones who can't sit through the whole Nutcracker over, you know, at the big ballet. So it's a very condensed version. Rena's dance, where Whitley took dance. They do a condensed version of the ballet, and we have a tea party with lunch and tea, coffee, water, that kind of thing. We decorate, it's beautiful, and the kids really enjoy it. So tickets will probably go on sale for that in mid-November or early November, I'm sorry. But with that one is very labor intensive. So if you guys like to decorate for Christmas, I could really use a hand decorating some trees. So any other questions? Yeah.
You have a website?
I do, whitleyswishes.org. We're also on Facebook. Our website, I kind of do all of this myself, so I try and keep it up to date as much as possible, but the Facebook page is the best place to go for the most up-to-date info. Anyone else? All right, thank you again.